All right, so now we're ready to do part two. Now, now we're going to talk about an actual bug out bag, and I know bug out bags get preppers all excited. This is like the hot button, I think. You know, people are like, yeah, you know, and you need this and that and the other thing, you know, duct tape or, you know, everybody's got their own little pet
Their own
peeve
thing.
of what needs to be in it.
And I've seen lists of things with hundreds of stuff, and that's fine. But how are you going to carry hundreds of things?
I mean, you know, sometimes you got to use leaves.
That's
You got to accept, hey, you know, I can't fit that extra roll of toilet paper
I'm
in there.
toilet paper free in my bug out bag.
So, you know, whatever. You do what you got to do. You know, there's whole sections in the Middle East, toilet paper free. You can use your hands. Whatever you got to do.
It's fine.
So,
Don't eat with that hand.
why might you need a bug out bag? The idea is, if, I don't know, say Red Dawn, right? You're sitting in school, you're looking out the window, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of Russian parachutes coming down, or whatever country they were supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
They were Russian-backed, some Latin American.
I think the
who
new
knows
one
what.
was North Koreans.
Oh, now it's North Korea.
It was Chinese, and then they changed all the flags in the movie, but
All right.
that's neither
all right.
here nor there.
So, you know, and you're like, oh crap, we got to go to the mountains and get out of here. Or the zombie apocalypse, right? So, you know, we've all seen The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And if you have time to grab your crap and go. The other thing I've seen right now, we're talking about a lot of fires and wildfires happening out in California.
Right.
That's
A lot of
kinda-
people were caught with their pants down with that one.
That's kind of timely. You know, but these things always happen throughout time. Puerto Rico. Oh my goodness, you know, we just had a
Right.
big hurricane there right before we were recording this.
A lot of people didn't think about doing anything to prepare for that until
And-
the day before.
You never know, or even, you know, every couple of years in Florida. Oh, a hurricane's coming. I gotta go. Well, you know what? This bag should have your basic essentials of stuff I might need if I, you know, end up somewhere else.
Right.
I don't know. So just a little bit of prepared readiness to get out of there. Hey, maybe there's an EMP and there's no power and there's roving gangs on the street and it's time to go. But sometimes you have to go in a hurry, and that was the big thing, you know, we saw with these fires is you're getting a knock on the door. Oh, something bad's coming. You got to go now, and you need to move. So we put together bug out bags. Now, there's a couple of different styles, and we want to talk about both of them. Well, both that we think are the key points, and one is like one that you can really hike and get out there with, something you can go 5 miles into the woods, 10 miles into the woods, whatever it takes, and a little ready to carry. And then there's like a bigger version where, you know, you're kind of throwing it in your Jeep or your truck. Maybe you're hiking a mile or two with it, but it's a little too much stuff to, you know, so you need to decide where you live, where you might need to bug out to,
Mm-hmm.
and pack a bag that's appropriate for your situation and what you might do. Now, obviously, you don't know what's going to happen, but bottom line, if you're like, oh, I'm going to disappear in the woods and I'm going to go hike up that mountain over there and nobody's going to ever see me again, well, that's fine. You're going to need a bag like we're going to talk about right now where you're able to carry and move. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to drive to my bug out location 10 miles from here or an hour from here in my truck, and I'm going to take everything I need so I can go survive, you might want a bigger, heavier bag like we're going to talk about next. So let's talk about a quick go bag that is your bug out bag. See what you got, Kevin.
It's a Gregory pack. It's got the hip belt, shoulder straps, chest straps. It's comfortable, well balanced, and it's easy to carry for long distances. It stays comfortable. Now, first thing I want to talk about is what we've got here in the sides. Easy access things. Got local maps with trails and roads. We've got bottle of water. Doesn't substitute for water filtration, boiling water,
You know what? It's
any
a
of those
container.
things.
And
But it's a great container, right? and it's something to carry you through until you find something else. Now, I've got a dish set here. It's got a strainer,
That's almost a spork there, I think.
a spork, fork, and a serrated edge there for cutting your meat. Everyone knows that's the most important thing. Multiple containers. And that's pretty much covers all of your eating. Not necessarily your cooking, but your eating needs. Slide that down. Mandatory for me whenever I go hiking. Instant coffee. Always keep some of that in the bag. Tastes terrible, but it's better than drinking hot water. Hand warmers. These don't really work very well at all, but they're better than having nothing around when it's 10 below zero.
Keep those fingertips nice.
Mm-hmm. Now I usually throw a couple of things, small food things in here that last a long time. When I'm getting ready to go and head out, try and pack some other stuff in here that's going to last a little bit longer. Headlamp. Now these are usually AAA batteries. Now I'll see in a second when we pull it out that I always keep some extra batteries just in case in the bag. Now Seth Span I made us this knife. Now this is a great knife for basic use when it comes to cutting wood. Pretty well balanced actually, you can throw it. It's got a good case. It doesn't replace your survival knife, which I have on my belt, but it works well when you're out for a long time and you need something sturdy. Machete, hatchet, this covers most of those situations. Another thing I like to keep in my bug out bag is a little bit of extra cash stash.
Oh, in the
Now,
secret hiding
go
spot?
with singles, 5s, 20s. Try and divide it up. You want to have enough money that you can get through anything, but you'd want to have to spend $20 when you only need to spend $5. Now, when it comes to surviving in the woods, you need some basic shelter needs. Got a tarp, small piece of rope. This isn't the only rope I have, but it's something simple for tying the tarp up, keeping things together. I've got it right with the tarp, so when it comes to putting a shelter up, I don't have to pull the whole bag apart. Fishing line. Now this is a heavier duty sleeping bag. It compresses pretty well. It expands pretty well. It keeps you warm. Now another great thing that a lot of people don't think about is zip ties. You need a small piece of rope, zip tying up the tarps, zip tying up just about anything. Always got to have your Declaration of Independence with you.
You may have to restart the country, so
You never know, right? Trash bags come in handy a lot more often than you would think about it.
doubles as a rain poncho.
That's
You're
right.
in.
All your stuff. You can bag up your whole go bag. Now I always like to keep extra pair of dry socks. Keep them zip locked up. Ziploc bag also can come in handy for a lot of other uses. Small tin cup. It's great for cooking over the fire, boiling water. It's not a whole full cook set, but it'll do well enough to keep you going. Dental floss. Comes up a lot. Got to keep that gingivitis away too.
Yeah, smart. This bag seems to be a bottomless pit.
It is. Batteries. I just refilled one of my flashlights here. These are AAA batteries that are not useful for a lot of things, but they are useful for small flashlights. I try and make sure that whatever I have in my bug out bag, everything is consistent with the different types of batteries, different types of uses. If you can go with one set of batteries for all your stuff, that's great. Windbreaker, rain poncho. It's not going to keep you necessarily very warm, but it'll keep you dry if it starts drizzling and it's 40 degrees out. Small sewing kit. I also keep a piece of aluminum foil in there. It's helpful when it comes to cooking and things like that. The small kit is really cheap and kind of crappy, but it'll keep your clothes held together for as long as you need it. You can also use the needles to bend them into fishing hooks, so that's good. Don't use the string for fishing line though; it's not going to hold up. Duct tape. I don't have to say any more about that.
Check mark.
Now this is a very small first aid kit. I recommend having something sturdier, something bigger in your house that you can grab when it's time to go. But as far as a pack, it's got everything that you need for basic small-time trauma. It's got towelettes, alcohol swipes, sting relief, band-aids, safety pins, and gauze. I've also got medical tape, waterproof adhesive. It's I've used it more than once for situations that I've been caught in. Aleve. I'm not a big proponent of pain management when it comes to something this small, but being in the woods and sleeping on the ground can get pretty aches and pains show up when you're an older man like I am.
Constant headache. That's no good. You don't want to suffer.
I also have multivitamin. When you're short on food, that sucks. But if you can take a multivitamin every day, you might be able to supplement some of that and at least keep yourself healthy, whether you have energy or not. Extra pair of underwear, extra pair of t-shirt. Got to keep your balls dry. Got to keep your armpit dry. Armpits.
Okay.
We can redo that one. I like the balls. Toothbrush. Gingivitis. There aren't any dentists out there, so you got to keep your cavities at bay. Extra pair of line, extra set of line. Keep that fire going. It's five pack of lighters. You can get it for $3 at the dollar store. Last but not least, Vaseline. Great fire starter.
Keep your lips dry.
It's
from cracking.
Yeah, it's easy to get dehydrated when you're out in the woods. You're around all that smoke, the fire, all those things. Skin just goes to shit a lot of the time. You have to be careful about it. If you're not able to drink enough water, at least you can keep the outside of your body somewhat comfortable. Last but not least, .22 handgun.
Looks a little small.
I'm not making up for anything.
So with that, That looks like a bug out bag if I ever saw one.